Hari Om. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Hari Om. Okay, we'll chant the first verse of Sadhana Panchakam. You able to see that, everyone? If you have the text with you, you can use that. Vedo nityam adhiyatam taduditam karma swanushtiyatam teneshasya vidhiyatam apachitihi kamye matistyajyatam papaugha paridhuyatam bhavasukhe doshonusandhiyatam atmecha vyavasiyatam nijagrihat purnam vinirgamyatam. So we have been seeing this wonderful roadmap to spiritual practices in Hinduism. And we have studied that the text is giving loving advice, something like, may it be that you and I study the Vedas daily. Vedo nityam adhiyatam tad uditam karma swanushtiyatam. May it be that he or she, that person, lets the instructions of the Vedas or the scriptures manifest in our daily actions. May it come out in our behavior, in our attitude. So from listening and reflecting on the scriptures, our actual behavior will change. May that happen. The various, be it do's or don'ts, or be it spending time every day chanting, listening to scriptures in classes, all of this will qualify for the first two. Very much so following our duties as they have been outlined in the scriptures also. So all this we covered. Karma swanushtiyatam. Then tene shasya vidhiyatam apachitihi. May it be that by that karma, which we are following because we have understood the scriptures, by that may we worship the Lord. So in here, apachitihi is done through your normal activity. And we saw last time that the scriptures are actually giving us ways to do value-added karma, if you want to put it that way, right? Where just doing something in response to life is like just having a clump of gold right from the earth. But when you do the types of actions that live up to your human dignity, that is what's given in scriptures. The type of behavior that is aligned with your stage in life, then it is like you have taken the earthen gold and made it purified into gold itself. When we karma svanushthiyatam, and we do it well without taking any shortcuts. But when you now go and add another layer onto that karma of offering it to a higher altar, the bhav, the reasoning, the understanding, the attitude, the inner side of it is also involved in such a beautiful way, then you're taking the gold and you're making it diamond studded. So you keep on adding, or if you don't want to add anything else, you can take the analogy like you've turned it into not only a beautiful pendant, but you've also inscribed it with Om. You've made it more and more and more valuable. According to the quality and the type of the action that we do in life, accordingly we will get results. So why waste perfectly good moments in life and get back in return mediocre results? Why put your child to bed as a chore when you could put them to bed as putting Bhagavan to bed and get back the best possible results? Why do your work at your job just for pay when you could do it out of gratitude and get back even better results from the universe? So this very simple pragmatic logic I'm providing, the logic of karma. So you sow, so you reap. But the scriptures are not having that in mind for the reasoning why we should add devotion to our karma. The reasoning is that it will purify our mind. And we mentioned earlier this whole series of sadhanas or spiritual practices can be broken down into 2 steps. Step 1, removing impurities from the mind, and step 2, naturally thereby gaining more clarity in life. So the goal of tene shasya vidhiyatam apachitihi is purity of mind. Now we left it at, well, who is this Bhagavan that we have to worship? And for the modern scientific thinker, the Bhagavan that our parents worshipped seems superstitious, maybe? So how to explain? Well, it is very easy to explain actually to a modern thinker, scientific thinker. Because, well, I think that will become obvious. Let us see, right? Step 1, what we're doing now is taking a moment to try and see God. Taking a moment to try and apprehend, observe the presence of God right here where we are, scientifically. Now, I cannot promise that you will see God, but hopefully, as these explanations worked for me, they will equip you one day to witness the presence of Bhagavan in all things or in one thing. There is more to life than just the material. Swami Vivekananda also, before he was Swami Vivekananda and he was hunting for his guru, he met Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and asked him, can you show me God? As he was asking everybody. And you may know the story, you may not know, but Bhagavan Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, yes, I can show you. I don't know if you can see. Of course I can see. I have eyes. Must have been the response. So he held out his finger like this and moved his thumb laterally like that for some time. And it must have been that he was waiting for something magical to happen. You know, like a la peanut butter sandwich. You know, this is the first step in a special manifestation ritual or something. But this alone was what he was showing. Where is there God in the movement of a thumb laterally like that? Biologists will tell we are the only one to have a thumb, let alone let it move laterally. And we'll leave that thought there. We can pick it up at a different time. But if you study anything in the world carefully, you will find it is not just simply a matter of material. Something special is there. The Hindu scientific approach is like this. And it sounds very familiar to what we learn in chemistry or physics and all of that, right? First of all, if you see any thing happening in this universe, we always assume it is according to some laws. Correct or not? Nothing happens in this universe lawlessly. Meaning to say, if a mango falls from a tree, if rain falls from the sky, if ice falls from the sky, whatever might happen, if stars falls from the sky, it is not that it is happening by happenstance. There are some rules involved, right? Some laws. Correct or not? Those laws you can study and, pen down different circumstances. In this case, this will happen. In this case, this will happen. Try and capture the law. So every time you hold the bell and hit it, according to how hard you hit it, that much sound we produce. So you make a law, right? Then if you go further, that is actually not the law. How hard you hit it makes a sound produced. A physicist will tell you that is a very poor description of what is happening. The whole manifestation of kinetic energy transforming into sound waves, which is then falling onto the ear. Then there's some membrane, tympanic membrane, which is making it from analog into electrical, and then it's going to the neurons, and then they don't even actually know how that turns into a sound in the mind, and a whole set of things is happening. So one description of the law is like this. It's very simple, right? And then physics gives you a different description based on, Newtonian physics. Then the same physics will say, all those set of laws that we've given, they're actually not that great. We could get even down a little further and describe it a little better. So they have all the expressions of what is going on in Newtonian physics down in a different explanation, quantum physics. And what they're looking for as they get down, and as they go further down, what they find is you have a set of laws here which can mix and intertangle and produce another set of organized thing there, and that can mix and intertangle. You can see it at a different level there in an organized way like that. That's what we have, right? Now, when you get down to as far as we've gotten in modern science, quarks, strings, and fields, and these are just terms for me. I have not studied in depth. But what they are looking for is, what is it that is the most basic set of laws? One question they have. And the question we pose in Hinduism, what upholds all those laws? Means right here, if we hit the bell, the laws will operate. Then if you go on a space shuttle in the International Space Station and you hit the bell, the laws will also follow. So why is it the same law operates here as it does way out there? And then you can go to the furthest end of the universe, and to our best knowledge, the same laws will operate. Not connected by anything except space. So all the laws pervade everything. And where are those laws, if you ask? Where do the laws exist? This is an interesting question for those who like science. Where is the law of you take one basic law. I was going to say gravity, but gravity is not a basic law anymore. You take one basic law, like a thing in motion remains in motion unless a force acts on it. A basic law in physics, right? Where is that law held, written, and kept so that all things obey? Any idea? So science will say, no, there is no separate vault or library where there's the law. The law inheres inside the thing. Everywhere you have the universe, you have all the laws. Correct or not? Now this is a revolutionary idea in science. Because in all the Christian and Abrahamic theology, they didn't think like that. I don't know if you've... How did they think? Well, God is separate, then, which He's the all-powerful being, and separate from Him He made a world. And He's the law holder, apart from the universe. So to say God and His power inheres in the world would mean to say God inheres in the dirty drain outside the back of the house. And for them, that is blasphemy. That is a kind of really wrong thing to do. A sin to say such a thing. But science will say, no. The power in this universe is not somewhere else. It inheres in the very thing. And all the laws are not a thing. Laws are rules. Where do they inhere? They inhere in the thing. Taking that one step further only, Hinduism has offered wisdom to the world, discovered by so many men and women, by going inside. What is that? All the laws do inhere in every iota of the universe, and each iota is fundamentally made of one thing. That is how you have all the laws operating in unison. This is the one thing that they have discovered that we have to accept. There's nothing you have to accept in Hinduism by faith, with this one exception, that there is some basic reality from which all things rest also. Which is not a extreme assumption. That everything is made of something, that's an extreme assumption. That is, in fact, science actually demands even greater assumptions of every person. But this is the basic thing you have to assume in Hinduism. So we were talking about God. Then he went into laws. Then he went into something about a bell. Then he went to International Space Station and came back. What is going on here? All of this is to show the scientific approach with which the rishis analyze. So science will say, okay, first you have these basic elements. And from those elements with their laws, they will interact and make a next set of things which have organization, and then a next set of things. In the same way, you'll find the rishis tell in the Upanishads, in Tattva Bodha also, from the one reality have come some basic elements. Then they operate and mix together. That makes another set of rules, and they all expand into the world we have today. The difference is science has chosen to name the different categories of things in this way and group them in this way. And in Sanatana Dharma, we've grouped them in that way. And groupings can be done in any way. How many types of human beings are there? How do you want to group now? Men versus women, young versus old, Gen Z versus Gen Alpha. How you want to divide? That is up to you. Or you say, no, they're all one species. There's not one. So like that, you can divide the world in different ways. So the rishis have divided the world and explained how everything manifests. But the point is the exact same thinking approach is there that we find in modern science. Now, if every law inheres in every iota, and all of that finally inheres in one thing, it makes you start to think. Now, where science doesn't have any jurisdiction is to talk about anything that is not empirical. So it becomes, so they have created, because of that, they have created divides in the mind of everybody who studies science. But the rishis have no such problem. So they think like this. The non-empirical things in the world, like life and consciousness, love and meaning, and all of these things which you can't put in a test tube and measure, they have very much also come and manifest in the world or not. Just as much as stars have manifested in the world, eyes to see them and beings to know they're being seen have also manifested in this world. We don't make a divide just because this one is material and this one is non-material, the being inside that, okay, well, we're going to ignore one half of the equation, the non-material. It is quite a hilarious division for science, which depends so much on hypothesis and testing, to totally ignore where the hypothesis comes from. The person doing the hypothesizing is totally ignored. How I come up with the hypothesis also, from my mind and from the interest, that's also all ignored. Very interesting division they have drawn. But all of it, including the beings, living beings, have also manifest from the same stuff, whatever that stuff is. Okay, so this is one more thing you add. Next thing you add now. We're approaching God from a scientific view. The laws that hold this world together, we have again divided them for our own convenience. And then we saw, oh no, but the divisions of hitting the bell and all that, actually those are fake divisions. You can summarize it as different laws. They come down, oh, that's all fake divisions, come down as different laws. If those who understand science, this analogy will make sense. Those who have not studied at different levels, don't worry about it. The point is like this. There are infinite laws. But are laws themselves material or non-material? Non-material. And are laws, how do you say, inert or not inert? So science teaches, no, laws are inert. The law of gravity is not alive. And they can make that assumption because they refuse to look at the living aspect of the universe. But the same laws that manifest all the inert things are the same laws that manifest all the living beings and govern the living beings. So the rishis say, no, there you have made a mistake. The entire universe is pervaded by a capacity to make things living. You have not looked carefully at all the things in the universe, so you find it easy to ignore. You know, it's something like, if you zoom out, and you see like a bamboo shoot, well, clearly it's living. You know, as the sun moves, the leaves turn, so it kind of has some way to perceive light. It is breathing, it is growing, like that. If you zoom in a little bit, and you just look at the bamboo itself, well, then it looks dead. Correct? It's just, you're just looking at something that could as well be any other material in the universe. You zoom in closer again, you'll see cells. Oh, it looks living again. Suddenly it looks alive again. You zoom in further, and you get down to strings and quarks and all that, it doesn't look living anymore. So is it living or is it material? In the same way, looking at this universe from our point of view, and that is, for us, the stars are so big and the universe goes on and on and on, right? And amoeba are so small from our point of view, right? We're somewhere on the spectrum. In the same way, we look up at the stars, so there's just like some solid thing, no life here. But the rishis say, no, if you zoom out and look at the whole thing, you get a cosmic person. There's a living being there. If somebody zooms in and looks at a hair, the hair looks just like any other thing in this universe. It doesn't look alive. Huh? Now, actually, I don't know if that's a good example. If you zoom way in, you will find cells in a hair? No, it is dead, I think. So they taught me, hair is dead. But you zoom out, the hair is growing out of a being. And if you just touch it, I say, I can feel you. So it's connected to a living being. So are you living or are you dead? Is your nail part of a living being or is it's part of a dead being? If you look at the nail alone, well, there's nothing about it that is special. And then you can go in and see cells, and you can go out, same thing. So in the same way, this whole universe. What is going on here is an assumption, a philosophical assumption. What is true at the Pinda is also true for the Brahmanda. What is true in the microcosm is also true in the macrocosm. This is the assumption, which we do all the time. That's why we take one virus, put it in a petri dish, and test it. And from that, we get an idea of what is going on if you create the same circumstances at the bottom of the ocean or in some other planet, and we make all kind of assumptions. What's going on here can be going on over there. It can be going on in a big situation and all that, right? Microcosm and distant macrocosm. Okay. So we have seen several proofs for God through this type of explanation. Philosophically, Pinda and Brahmanda. And previously, and I alluded to it this week a little bit, last week we ended with, well, any breadcrumb has to have a pie. If you were there last week, otherwise you can go back and see. Every cup of water must have an ocean. Every power must have a total source. That is another proof of God. But all of this proof and all that is just to allow our intellect to open up to the idea that yes, this whole universe is pervaded by a living being. And when we say pervaded by a living being, we don't mean in a Christian sense, like apart from the universe. All the laws of the universe together is God. Means pervading means he is all things. Now, I thought all the laws of the universe were inert. They weren't pervaded by a living being. But the conception of the universe in Hinduism is there are living beings on living beings on living beings. If you study as it is given in Puranas and like in Bhagavatam, and you have the cosmic person. Then you have Brahmajis, each one for one Brahmanda. Then you have Devatas in that Brahmanda. And one Devata is looking after all of the manifestation of light. And one is looking after all of the manifestation of water on the various elements that are in this universe. So within the cosmic person, there are so many beings who are responsible for so many things, and then other beings which are responsible. So you have beings inside beings on top of beings causing things to keep running. Then you get down to our level, the pinda, the microcosm, and inside us, you have one being here, that's you and I. But every cell is you. Every cell is operating like a little individual being. Correct or not? They'll not say, I'm part of you. But they somehow work as a total being. Then there's a little amoeba and all kinds of things which live inside your gut but are not technically part of the body, and so many beings on beings on beings. Correct or not? This is the concept. So that is to say, life is pervading all things. Now, that Bhagavan, who is so total and massive and all-encompassing, is really in charge of everything that happens everywhere. And like a employee in a company who receives company car and company phone and company house and company trips and they have company scholarships and all of that, the only expectation of that employee is you work for the company. That is all. In the same way, having received, currently receiving, and will forever receive nothing but blessings from the one Lord who makes up everything, so we can breathe and walk and talk and remember and digest and desire and argue and claim God doesn't exist, all of it. The only expectation is not even the word that is given. The wish, may it be for your own benefit, so that you can come to remember you're associated with such a powerful being which wants nothing of you. That is to happen through reverence, memory, devotion. Let it be the idea behind all of your action. Now this huge sort of conception of Bhagavan will, I hope or I imagine, settle well in a mind that has been trained from childhood to think in science, as I grew up. But if that doesn't settle well in the mind, the same Lord of the universe has manifested as Bhagavan Shri Krishna, as Bhagavan Shri Ram, and so many times given his Virat Roop. Within his body he shows everything. So to remember Bhagavan Shri Krishna with his flute tucked into his dhoti and his curly hair and his mischievous smile, acting out the feeling that he has for every jiva, here with all other jivas, so you can get an idea what is there in the mind of the universe. That is there for us to reflect on. Some people, remembering that form of Bhagavan, can dedicate their action. Some, feeling gratitude for everything they have, can dedicate their action. Some, just by chanting the name of the Lord because of instruction of their guru, can dedicate their action. By whatever means possible, whatever works for you, let one's action be dedicated to Bhagavan. And also, if that is not possible, dedicate it to an altar higher than yourself. Because truly and fundamentally, in this whole universe, there is nothing but Bhagavan. So if it is other than yourself, then finally it's going to Bhagavan. So that is also refuge, dedicated to the community, dedicated to the nation. It doesn't matter. The benefit to you is that because it is not dedicated to yourself, you will be saved from all the obstacles that separate you from the total. Okay, so this was a little vichar on the existence of God. So it can help us dedicate. At least it can help open the mind to the idea of the presence of God. A finally, it's supposed to help you look out and say, oh wow, you mean to say this power that I'm seeing here is an expression of Bhagavan? This is the kind of, oh, wow. And chapters in Bhagavad Gita are dedicated to this idea comes again and again throughout Bhagavad Gita. Like, it's like, wow, look at this light. You mean to say this light is none other than the, well, in Canada you will say, or many places in the States also, this is hydroelectric power I'm seeing. Wow. Because you'll go back to the source. But finally, all this is power of Bhagavan. Okay, it is a big topic, and a lot of time is spent on it, but this is the sort of logic that is used in scriptures. What are the benefits you get from that dedication of action? Since this is interactive class, please type in the chat what kind of benefits you think a person who dedicates their ordinary daily duties to the Lord gets. There are countless. Quietude of mind, sense of joy. If you look to those in life who have dedicated their action to a greater altar, be it a child or even like Puja Gurudev, you see him smiling there, right? He did all his work with that smile. What benefits he was enjoying? Practically. Detachment. It's a very long list. One of them is endless energy. Endless energy. And we have seen that in great saints and sages and Mahatmas and Sadhakas also. Puja Gurudev, 18-20 hours a day. Awake, alert, serving the community. It is said that they rested only because other people needed rest around them. Then the next one is Kam ye matis tyajyatam. What does it mean? Now, we all have likes and dislikes, and generally our tendency is to do what we like and avoid what we dislike. This is normal, natural, swabhavik. We're born with it. Huh? What happens if we don't do what needs to happen and we only do what we like? Suppose you don't like your duty, or you don't like brushing your teeth, you don't like cleaning the house, you don't like doing things, and you don't do them. What happens? Well, slowly my likes and dislikes, because I always pursue them, they get stronger, right? And my knowledge, which is supposed to guide my action, it becomes disconnected from my behavior. So when my guidance, my GPS, is saying, go right, it is correct, and don't go left, it is wrong, I cannot follow. So this becomes one of the impacts. Then if that happens, what happens next? Well, my likes and dislikes could pull me in a direction that is bad for me. And it always does. Then I make mistakes. Then I suffer the impact of mistakes. Then to try and come out of that, now I have to again start right from the position where I started and I avoided. Well, to choose between my likes and dislikes and what I know is right. So I went on a long safari through the jungle. I got chased out and I ended up right back where I started to decide, you want to go back in the jungle or you want to follow on the nice path. You end up back at square one. But we all need to do that several times. Several times. And then finally say, you know what? I think I'll walk on this safer path for some time. And then you're like, you know what? I can't do it. Back into the jungle. And this goes on and on and on and on. It is natural, right? But to name the problem, to know the problem is helpful. It is not anything else but likes and dislikes driving my action. And in delusion, I think they're my friend. They're going to give me some kind of lasting feelings of happiness or aliveness or meaning or fulfillment, and they don't. So, then Bhagavan now says, Kam ye matis tyajyatam. Drop from the mind, tyajyatam, kam ye matihi. Drop desires from the mind. So, previously I was doing work, I was dedicating it, my rationale, I was dedicating it to the Lord. Then, a new thought pops in the mind, oh, I'd like to do that. And here is where a big discussion begins. Is it even... Can a person do anything without desire? Suppose you say drop desires. Now I have a desire to drop desires. So I should first drop the desire to drop desires? Then I wouldn't drop anything. This is captured in Manusmriti. Yad yad karoti kinchit tad tat kamyasya cheshtitam. Whatever I do, that thing is born of desire. If right now you're taking notes, there's a desire to retain, remember, revisit, correct? If you're not taking notes, then maybe there's a desire just to listen. Do or don't do, jump high or jump low, there's always some desire behind, conscious or subconscious. Now, given that rule from scriptures, how is Bhagavan Shankaracharya saying drop desires? I cannot even blink, I cannot even gesture, I cannot even move my tongue and my mouth without some desire. I would be dead if I dropped desires. I wouldn't be even living. It is the sign of life to have action born of some desire. But Bhagavan Shankaracharya is not alone in giving this instruction. Bhagavan Shri Krishna also tells, Kama esha krodha esha rajo guna samudbhavaha jahi shatro mahabaho kama rupa durasada. That jahi shatro is the operative phrase I wanted to mention. Kill the enemy, kama rupa, of desire. Kill the enemy. So that insistence that I want something to be like this and I want to go and enjoy that, that Bhagavan Shri Krishna looks at it in the mind and says, this is your enemy. No. That is my closest friend. That is my bosom buddy. That is the one that whispers the sweet that things are going to be great. We're going to go on vacation. We're going to have fun. We're going to see this thing. We're going to do that thing. We're going to go there. You mean I have to kill that? Those are my dreams. Those are my hopes. Kill hope. Hope that life will be better. Bhagavan, something is not feeling right. Like that. And there are many ways to think about this thing. But let's deal first of all with this contradiction, seeming contradiction. On the one hand, kill desire, drop desire. And on the other hand, nothing can be done without desire. So what do you think is the answer before I tell? I'll give everybody 30 seconds or just type something in the chat. drop insistence, have sattvic desires, do whatever dharma says should be done. Wonderful answers. The scriptures very much rely on your desires in giving instructions for you to follow this and do that. The scriptures, in fact, say a qualification for going on this path of spirituality and gaining more of your own potential, letting it come out and recognizing your freedom. You need to have, for that, a qualification is called mumukshutvam. You must have moktum ichhami. I want freedom. That feeling should be there. That thought, feeling, emotion, that desire should be there. I want freedom. Now, freedom is a broad, ambiguous word, and you can pack many things into it from your side and from my side. But finally, I want freedom from sorrow, from limitation, from everything that I don't like. That desire is necessary in spirituality. So, right off the bat, you know that desire doesn't have to be dropped totally. If you drop that, you won't make the journey. Gurudev used to give an example that of the pole vaulter. We see this in Olympic sports. They carry a pole like this and they run down a track. And then they put the pole into some divot in the ground and they use it to launch themselves up over a bar. Have you seen it? And at the top, when the pole has been used to its maximum to launch that person up, 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 in order for them to cross over the barrier, they have to let go of the pole. If they hold on to the pole, they will come tumbling down, back where they started. So at the top, they let go. And they let go naturally. Because that is required to keep going. So moksha, mumukshutvam, desire for freedom, is one such desire in the heart of all of us that finally removes itself. It takes you a long way, like the pole in the pole vault, and it lifts you up, 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 and then for it to fulfill itself, it must be dropped. So it removes itself, finally. So because of the nature of that desire, you keep it. Other desires, however, they don't remove themselves. They multiply themselves. In fact, one of the names of desire is anala, which is the same name we have for fire. It means the more you feed it, the more it grows. An-alam, nothing is ever enough. Anala means nothing is ever enough. Now, a little further into this idea, actually, if you study any desire well, it is the desire for moksha that has just been misinformed, misdirected, like that. So another way to put this is the desire for freedom that we have expressed out in this way and that way just needs to be redirected. This is the other way to put it. For example, and this is where I personally think it gets so interesting, right? Suppose somebody says that they are perfectionists. They're perfectionists. So they don't want to go swimming until the waves stop. They have to be ready, and when they do go, it has to be perfect. The surfing or the swimming is so important that unless it is perfect, it's not worth doing. So they're trapped between something they really want to do and an inhibition to start. This is very common, right? In that, if you study it, So what is it? I want to be perfect. This is the desire. I don't want to get it wrong. So then if you go a little deeper into that and ask, why don't you want to get it wrong? Well, the person will say, if you study it now, you have to study honestly and well. You say, well, if I get it wrong, then I will feel like, what's wrong with being wrong? No, if I'm wrong, then people will see something about me, and finally I don't feel safe. Or something like that. Huh? I don't feel safe, I don't feel loved, I don't feel secure, I don't feel complete. And I felt that before, and I don't want to feel it again. So now I make sure I'm prepared before I go. Well, what is wrong with not feeling safe? I don't like it. We're back down to the basic thing, I don't like it. We spent some time on this in a previous class. Oh, you don't like it? Well, suppose you go through it without saying whether you like it or you don't like it, and see what is it to not feel safe for a moment. It's exhilarating. That's why people go on roller coasters. For a moment, it is exhilarating not to feel safe. There's nothing inherently wrong in it. No, I don't like it. So now, just because of fear so when you fall down and everybody looks at you and then you feel unsafe and you don't know where to go and you don't know how you can recover and all that, just for that moment of experience, now a person goes on this long, year-long, 2-year, 3, 4, 5, 10-year-long escapade to be perfect. That is not good for you. Because finally you haven't dealt with the fear of whatever the fear is. And you have wasted a lot of time, because that is not the way to deal with that thing. And finally, after all that effort, you haven't moved at all emotionally. You're not more aware of what's going on. You haven't solved your problem. So the rishis say, once you get caught in desire and delusion and you're thinking about yourself and what you can enjoy and how you can perfect it and all that, you're just groping in the dark. You're a dog chasing his tail. You're the musk deer trying to chase the smell of his own heart. You can't get anywhere. That thing you're trying to fulfill, better to try and fulfill it more directly than less directly. This is the message. The other message is, behind all of our egocentric desires usually underlies some other desire. Not usually, always, underlies some other desire. And finally, it is a desire for moksha, which I said could be put differently. I want to be safe. I want to be seen. I want to be loved. I want to be free from being alone. Whatever. However people cast that in concrete in their mind as a phrase, finally when you go into it, two things you will find. The person is running from something they ought not run from. It is all the negative things in life, they're not that bad. If you don't fight with them. It means if you don't have insistence, as you were saying. Right? And the other side of that is that so much delusion is always there in our heart. The boy goes to the Mahatma and says, Mahatma Ji, I'm so scared to write my exam. Why? Because if I fail, all is lost. What will be lost? Well, if I fail, I won't get into school. Why do you want to go to school? I want to go to school so I can get a degree. Why do you want a degree? No, but I need to put that paper up on the wall. Well, the Swamiji said, well, I can give you a paper from the ashram. You've been coming here for so many years, Balvihar. I'll give you a degree in Balvihar. I've seen you. No, Swamiji, I don't want the degree just for the wall. I want to take it to the employment center, get a job. Oh, you want a job? No, you don't need that for a job. We have so much work to do here in the ashram. Stay here, I'll give you a job. Well, Swamiji, it's not just the job, it's the money from the job that I was hoping for. Oh, money. Look, I will put you as treasurer of the ashram. You will handle money day in, day out. No problem. No, Swamiji. It's not that I just want to have control over money. I want to spend it on things I like. Oh, you won't be treasurer, you'll be purchasing department. You get to buy ice cream for the kids, you get to buy this other thing, you get to buy this other thing. You will have money to spend. No, Swamiji, it's not that I just want to be able to spend money whenever. I want to enjoy the things I spend on. Oh, you want enjoyment? Yeah, Swamiji. That's why I cannot fail this test. You see from where to where? Underlying the desire is some other desire. And finally, all this big rigmarole to just enjoy, which nobody's stopping you from doing right now. But I'll spend some time on this thought also. Our time is gone. Desire for money. So like this actually, so much time can be spent on why do I do what I do. And this desire for money is one of those kamya karmas, selfish actions, desires that cause action, that really have behind it some very simple, natural desires that never get fulfilled from the pursuit of money. So your challenge this week is to think a little bit about your own desire for wealth, if you have it, and what is behind it. There's nothing wrong in the pursuit of wealth. The rishis here are saying, drop the feeling that when I pursue this thing in the world, it's going to solve my basic desire. That basic desire needs to be solved directly, not indirectly. And by the previous instructions, study of the scriptures, doing what is said inside there, dedicating it to the Lord, a person finds direct solutions to their deep desires. So you're getting it on this side, now you drop it from that side. Once you've given a great solution, how I could feel more safe, for instance, or feel more abundance, for instance, then I can drop the wasteful energy of trying to be perfect so I never have to feel unsafe again, because I have this other thing. So this is what is being told here at this point. Until we meet again, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Okay.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari